Okay, chapter 29, Maggie. Soda is missing, and it's just another nail in my rotting wooden coffin. It's just one more excuse for Harvard to laugh at me. It's just one more reason why my future is doomed. But I don't have time to worry about our missing hamster. I don't even have time to worry about poor, miserable me. Not now, not with a class to lead and a play to direct. Of all the lousy things happening, of all the problems staring at us, the school play is the biggest worry of them all. Are you okay? Lacey asks. She stands next to me, a look of genuine concern on her face. Why wouldn't I be fine? I answered, lifting my chin. But I'm not fine. No, not at all. The actors don't know their lines and they don't seem to care. Adam and Lizzie are too busy staring at each other to pay attention. Gavin, who plays John Hancock, has one line, one crummy line, and he can't even remember it. Trevor, our Paul Revere, keeps yelling, "The British are here! The British are here!" No, they're coming, I yell. The British are coming. They are? Where? He asks. No, that's your line. Well, I think the British are here is a way better line than shouting that they are just coming, he says. Sometimes my grandparents say they are coming over for lunch and they don't show up until dinner time. I just throw up my arms and scream. Sometimes screaming makes you feel better, but not in this case. All it does is hurt my throat. This morning, I thought I found a gray hair in my bed. A gray hair. I'm 10 years old. 10-year-olds don't have gray hair, although when I looked at it closer, it may have been wrong. The hair might have been a thread from my gray and white bedspread. We are practicing the second act, and Cooper reads a line. Cooper, who plays Thomas Jefferson, actually knows most of his lines, and he has a lot of them, which is great, except he just might be the most terrible actor to ever try to act. He's supposed to be passionate about freedom, American independence. Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, after all, but Cooper sounds as soft and oozy as a marshmallow. Thomas Jefferson was not a marshmallow. He was a leader, like me. Put some heart into it, I insist. Can't you act? I am acting. I'm acting great, says Cooper, who wouldn't know great acting if an Academy Award fell on his head. Just do it my way. I recite his line exactly the way it should be recited, syllable by syllable. I am forceful in my delivery and passionate. Then he repeats the line and sounds like a marshmallow. I don't know why I have to do everything myself. At least he sings well. He has a lot of singing parts. Still, we're going to make complete fools of ourselves Friday night. That's in only 2 days, and our secret will be discovered, and we'll be ruined. I'll be ruined. Samantha and Giovanna are supposed to be building sets, but every time I glance over to them, they're flipping through magazines. I holler at them to get to work, and they look at me, eyes glazed, as if I'm speaking Latin. I know quite a bit of Latin, but I wasn't speaking it. But at least they're mostly quiet. Brian and Seth keep playing their stupid eraser game and shouting. I glare at them, but they just laugh. Knock it off, I finally yell. They ignore me. Trevor and Gavin watch me and whisper something to each other. I can't hear them, but they probably think I'm being bossy again. I ignore them, whatever. Leaders need to be a little bossy. That's why they call them bosses. Meanwhile, Kyle works on script changes. He's not acting like a blockhead, thankfully, but we are running out of time. Kyle has eliminated some of the more terribly inaccurate parts, such as the scene where George Washington hurls erasers at the British and wins the eraser war, which made no sense at all. But his play still needs a lot of work. Ben Franklin did not have superpowers, I argue. But that's the best part, says Kyle with a frown. I yawn. I was up all night creating today's assignment sheets. I don't have time to correct Kyle's mistakes. I rub my eyes and yawn again. Doesn't the class understand the sacrifice I'm making for them? Being a teacher has been way harder than I ever imagined. I hate to admit it, but we could use Miss Bryce right now. I picture her swooping through the window on a broomstick to take control. Since witches fly on broomsticks, that would be particularly appropriate. So maybe we don't want Miss Bryce returning to teach our class. Not her, but we need someone. Better yet, maybe the entire Friday night event will be pushed back a month or two or forever. Do you need any help preparing homework? Asks Paige, Lacey by her side. They ask the same question 4 times a day. We can totally help out, says Paige. I'm fine, I insist. Splendid, magnificent, and exceptional. Thank you. But I'm doomed, doomed, doomed. They turn away and I swallow the spittle that's forming in puddles inside my anguished mouth. Maybe they can help. Maybe leaders don't have to do everything. Sometimes a little help can be, well, helpful. I'm about to speak up and I call them back, but 2 door raps interrupt me. At first, I brighten. Maybe our Friday night event has been canceled. My wish came true, like in a fairy tale. We're saved. But then my brain settles. Fairy tales don't come true. 2 door raps equal our warning sign. The eraser throwers sit. I sit tall, my chin up. Principal Klein enters the room. He scans the class. We are all seated, frozen smiles on our faces. Where's Miss Bryce? He asks. Before anyone can respond, he shakes his head and says, I know, the bathroom. He clears his throat. I was just checking to ask how the play was coming along. I'm excited to see your performance Friday night. We're anticipating a big turnout from the community. Oh, it's going great, I answer, forcing an extra wide grin to spread across my face. I may be doomed, but I won't show my defeat. That's what leaders do. Chapter 30 is Adam. I don't want to pick the short pencil, really, truly. I try not to pick it. I study the eraser ends of the pencils. They all seem the same height. If one looks a little shorter, I purposely avoid that pencil. I remember where the short pencil lurked the last time I chose, and so I nab a pencil from a completely different location. Yet here I go again with the short pencil in my hand. Oh, come on, I complain. I don't want to go. I need to stay and rehearse the play. I have the biggest part. I want to help look for Soda too. We need everyone to search for her. All hands on deck. We shouldn't be sending kids to the principal's office now. Don't forget your detention slip, says Eli. I growl at him. When I arrive at the school office, Mrs. Frank shakes her head at me. She doesn't have to say, you again? Really? Can't you behave? But I know that's what she's thinking. She holds out her hand without saying a word, and I place my slip on her palm. She reads the note. You ate Lizzie's sneakers? She asks. I shrug. For heaven's sake, why? I was in the mood for some fast food. She groans and points to the empty row of chairs. Oh, take a seat. Chapter 31 is Eric. Maggie directs our class play, but honestly, I think she is in over her head. She keeps screaming at everyone, pulling her hair and complaining that we're all blockheads. Maybe I should talk to Maggie. I could show her the revisions I've made to the play. I've scribbled a few pages of notes, rewritten scenes, added some new ones, and eliminated others. I think I've made it a lot better. A musical has 3 parts: the lyrics, the music, and the script. The script consists of all the parts that aren't sung. I can't fix the music or the lyrics. That's not what I'm good at, but I can improve the script a lot. I have improved the script a lot. For example, the Boston Tea Party wasn't a tea party hosted by Martha Washington, so I took that scene out of the play. The Boston Tea Party was actually about a bunch of people throwing tea into Boston Harbor to protest taxes. I bet Kyle could write a good song about tea. I also think we should completely eliminate the scene number 9 in the second act, in which Thomas Jefferson emails the Declaration of Independence to the British. I don't think it happened like that, but I doubt Maggie would listen to me anyway. She would just get mad and tell me to mind my own business. Kyle would be mad too. I don't want to make trouble. After all, I'm a colorless plant, unnoticed and unplucked, so I keep my notes in my backpack, stay in my seat, and write a new story instead. A story that I can keep to myself. I call my new story Soda, the magical disappearing hamster. But Soda quickly becomes an invisible rabbit. Eric, the hero of the story, is a shy, quiet kid who captures a rabbit in a field. He doesn't realize he has actually captured a rabbit that can turn itself invisible. He arrives in class with a towel over a rabbit cage. All the kids in class gather around Eric as he removes the towel. The cage is empty. Confused, Eric opens the cage to look inside. The rabbit leaps out. It's invisible, so nobody can see the creature as it runs around biting students, knocking things over, and eating a box of cupcakes one of the students brought for a birthday treat. No one knows what's happening until the rabbit briefly turns itself visible. Everyone yells at Eric to do something, so he lures the critter back into the cage with some lettuce from the turkey sandwich in his lunch bag. Eric knew he shouldn't have shared anything with the class. He should have kept quiet. After school, Eric takes the rabbit back to the field and opens the cage to return it to the wild. "Get out of here," he yells. As he stands there, cage open, Eric hears a loud bull snorting from behind him. He spins around, but the field is empty. Still, the snorting grows louder, and Eric sees the long grass being crushed beneath mighty invisible bull feet, coming closer and closer and closer until, no, that's all wrong, Maggie yells at Lizzie from the front of the classroom. I look up at my page. Adam, back from the principal's office, jumps in and argues with Maggie. Things aren't going very well. Maggie complains that the play is a complete mess. "One if by C," says Eli, who is playing Paul Revere. "It's two if by C," yells Maggie. "Can't anyone do anything right?" Eli stomps away. So do Lizzie and Adam. Maggie stands by herself, her eyes red and puffy. I think she might cry. I sigh and remove my script notes from my backpack. Something needs to be done, and not just with the script, with everything. The sets need to be set better. The acting needs to be acted better, and the costumes need to be created somehow too. I can't do everything, but I can do my part. I take a deep breath. I consider approaching Maggie, but instead I turn around and slink towards Samantha, who is huddled with Giovanna in the back, reading a magazine instead of creating the sets. I stop 3 times before I reach her. Each time I stop, I consider returning to my seat, but then I start walking again. And then somehow I've crossed the room and am standing right next to Samantha. I didn't even realize I had walked so far. She looks up at me. "What do you want?" she asks, as if accusing me of something. I wish I could disappear like an invisible rabbit. What was I thinking? She'll probably laugh at me. I should have kept my idea to myself. I should have remembered I'm a colorless plant. But it's too late now. So I clear my throat and unlock my arms, clasped in front of me. I take a deep breath. So this play, it's sort of a disaster, I say. Samantha nods. "I've noticed." "Well, I have an idea, but I need your help." "My help?" she says. A small little smile creeps onto her lips. Her eyes lock onto mine. "I'm just the person to ask. I specialize in helping. What can I do?" Chapter 32, Samantha. As I walk home from school, I can't stop feeling all worried inside, my body nervously tingling head to toe. The last time I felt this worried was last year, when this really cute pair of brown leather riding boots were out of the stock at the online stores, and I didn't know when I would get them. But this feels even more worrisome, and it's all about school. School has never bothered me before either. I mean, sure, Miss Bryce bothered me a little, but I would stop feeling bothered after the bell rang and I was home. So why do I feel like everything matters a whole lot? Why do I care what happens? Why do I want everything to turn out for the best? Not just for me, but for Emmy and Jade and everyone. As I walk, I clutch Emmy's party invitation in my hand. I didn't want it to get crushed by my backpack. The paper is light blue colored, and it calms me. In class, I'm supposed to design and build sets for the play, but working is hard, and I chipped a nail. Everyone thinks I've been goofing off, reading my fashion magazines instead. Nope, I've been reading the script. I've got the whole thing practically memorized. I like to imagine that it's me on the stage in this starring role. Me! But I don't want anyone to know I'm reading the play. I have my reputation to consider, and besides, it would set a bad example for the other girls. It's not fashionable to care. Top of the afternoon, Franny, shouts Mr. Woolcott from his lawn chair. I smile and walk over to his chair, holding tightly on to my invitation and remembering my conversation with Eric. I'm a little nervous, but I brush those concerns aside and return his big grin. I have a good deed to do. I'm Samantha, remember? Of course I know who you are. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Thanks, I think. Are you in need of Mr. Chips again? He asks. You know, the Times once called me a captivating rising star of the stage, although their most lavish praise was for the impeccable Franny Bree, of course. I look for a trace of sadness in his eyes as he mentions Franny Bree's name, but I don't see it. Not today, anyway, but then again, Mr. Wolcott is an exceptional actor. No, I don't need Mr. Chips, I say with a slight roll of my eyes, but I have another favor to ask you. He peers in closer. Yes? Mr. Chips can't help us this time, but you can. And that's the end of 32. Tomorrow will be 33, Maggie. Hope you enjoyed it.